Well, hello everyone, welcome to the Bring a Trailer auction on my 1971 Diamond Blue Highboy we have here. I've had this truck for several months. I've done some work to it, and to outline all of that work, I've made several YouTube videos on my YouTube channel doing long format videos of all the work I performed. And I want to start this video by saying you don't have to go back and watch all of those if you don't want to. If you want more information, please do. But I'm going to try to cover everything about this truck in this video for the auction. So if you're interested in buying this truck, this video should cover everything you need to know. But if you want more detail, those videos are there in the video gallery of the auction page here. So go check those out if you want more detailed, or just to see what I did or how I did it or anything like that. So on this video, we're going to go over the truck. We're going to go over the exterior, all the flaws with it. We're going to go a functions test, and we're also going to do a driving video, and you're going to hear the truck run and all of that kind of stuff. So we're going to start off with the exterior, and I'm going to get you guys in here a little closer, and we'll go over the exterior. All right, guys, first off, we're going to do an exterior walk around of the truck. Just give you a general walk around. Of course, I have lots of pictures in the gallery of the auction, but it helps just to kind of get a walk around video and to just get a general feel of the truck as I'm walking around. Now, obviously, this truck is kind of like a patina truck, I guess you could say, although I kind of hate to use that word too much with this truck because there's a fine line between patina and rust. As you can see here, we'll go ahead and start our walk around. We do have some rust in the truck on the exterior. There's the big rust hole in the fender like all the bump sides have, it seems like. And we have a little bit starting in the doors. It's kind of hard to see, but there is some rust in the corners of the doors. The other one on the other side is a little bit worse. The fender is better, but the door is worse. So here's the other fender, and you can see we have some rust starting in that recessed pocket underneath the fender, and then the corners of the doors are starting as well. The bottom side of the doors and the inner structure of the door seems to be okay. It just is on the outer skin. So that's the main rust on the exterior of the truck. As far as like what you see on the outside, it's pretty much just kept to those areas there in the door corners and the bottoms of the fenders. Otherwise, it's pretty solid. Now, there is quite a bit of body damage on the truck, dents and dings. This one's pretty significant here. It's in that crease on the cab. Wanted to make sure I showed you that. And it was really hard to photograph, but up here in the roof, there's some pretty good dents. There's one right there, one right here, and there's one right there. So it's kind of hard to photograph that. It kind of all blends together in the white and stuff like that right there. You can see that pretty well. Back here in this corner, it's pretty dinged up right there. Tailgate is pretty average condition for the rest of the truck, I guess. And over here we have the same. There's a big crease right there from something hitting it. And right there we have a big cave-in spot right there, and same with this bedside right there. It's caved in right there as well. And right here on this door frame here, something must have caught it, or something hit the door or something, so it's been out pretty good right there. Another thing you might notice is the hood is a slightly different shade. Let me get out of the shade there. You can see it better in the sun. The hood is actually a Wimbledon white hood. Now, and when I got this truck, I actually thought it was a white truck, and I was assuming it was Wimbledon white because that's the most common, because it was in a shed and it was shaded, and it was also very dusty and dirty from sitting all the years in the storage. And I didn't realize it was blue until I got it home and got it in the sunlight. And I was looking at it and like, man, that's kind of blue. So the hood I had for it that I thought was going to be perfect for this truck and match the patina and everything, it ended up being the wrong shade of color. But I think it matches okay. I mean, it's not terrible, but you can see it, especially right here in the corner where the paint is still pretty good. You can see the paint difference there. But you know, it's good enough for the truck. I think, you know, it's not a perfect truck, obviously. Hey guys, I'm going to jump in here. I forgot to mention why it has a different hood. The previous owners on this truck, whenever they got it, it had the owners they got it from, at some point the hood had flown up and busted the window and bent up the hood and damaged the original hood. So whenever they got it, it didn't have a hood or a front windshield, and they found this white hood and had it. And they also put a new windshield in it and windshield gasket. So wanted to mention that in case you had any questions on why it has a different hood. So maybe that answers some questions. So let's continue on with the video. So, you know, just kind of general overview of the exterior. It does have some flaws, but it's kind of, you know, weathered and worn. So it's matches the appearance of the truck. So moving on here to the grill, I had to do some work right here. I wanted to outline in the video because it's kind of hard to just describe with pictures. So on the grill here, it was missing this right-hand side insert, or it was in the bed rather, and it was broke. If you can see right here, there's these cracks right here. I actually epoxied it back together on the bottom side here. So there is epoxy on there, and the clips that hold the trim were broken, but I screwed it. I put screws in the bottom here to keep the trim in place because you have to remove this trim to remove the grill insert. So I didn't want to just like glue it in. So it has some screws here to hold this trim piece on that you can take out and take the insert off if you need be. The driver's side here, it is damaged up here, but I didn't want to remove it because I didn't want to risk busting the clips on that trim piece there. So another area of concern I wanted to point out on this truck is the driver's side cab mount here. Probably the worst spot on the whole truck, in my opinion, is the rust here on the cab mount, and it is pretty bad. It goes down there underneath, and you know, goes under the cab mount, but it is still holding the truck up. But at some point, it may collapse and may cause issues down the road. But for now, it is holding the truck up. But it doesn't seem to be causing any issues with that. A lot of times when these things get real bad, the front of the cab can settle and it causes issues right here and causes issues with your throttle pedal and your engine whenever you start flexing and stuff. But I have flexed this truck out and it hasn't caused any problems yet. So it's decent right now, but at some point it may need to be addressed. And we have issues with, as you can see in the gallery of the floor pan on the driver's side, it has some rust spots in it. If you can see those right here. And there's some spots in the cab brace on this side. Now the passenger side is good, but the floor pan on the passenger side, you can't see any from underneath, but I have pictures in the gallery. There's some rust holes in that pocket that is captured by the cab mount right here, up under here on the passenger side, and there is some up here on the driver's side as well. So doing cab mounts, probably plan on doing floor pans. If you're interested in taking care of that sometime in the future, I'll go ahead and show you this side as well. It is not as bad. This one is definitely better than the driver's side. And there is a little spot right here in the core support. Sorry, it's dirty here. But right here in the front core support, there's this little spot right here that is starting to rust out. I didn't see any other spots in the core support, but it's kind of hard to inspect the whole thing. But right here is the only spot I saw. So that is nice because it has the unique Highboy core support that is unique to the F-350s and the Highboys. I guess that's a good transition to go under the hood and show you that. So here's the standoffs for the Highboy core support like I was talking about. Now this is not the original radiator. The radiator that came with this truck was in the bed and it's sitting there for storage for however long, and it was all plugged up. I did put it in here. I thought I had it cleaned out and tried to run it, and all the core in the radiator was all plugged up. So I went ahead and replaced it. And this truck is actually a extra cooling. It has the extra cooling package on the Marty report. So I went ahead and put the bigger radiator in it, which is really nice for if you're in like a warmer climate and stuff. It just does a little bit better job of cooling, has a bigger capacity. Now this is not a original, and it's also not a new one. It is a remanufactured. It's a new one, a Mexico built new copper radiator, original style, that I had in storage that was off of another truck. So it's not a new one, but it is a aftermarket replacement from some time. I don't know how old it is, but is in really good shape. So I went ahead and used that, and that solved all of our cooling issues there with that original radiator that was plugged up. Now, this engine is also not original to the truck. This one did not have an engine in it whenever I got it. I got it with no engine. This is a we have a plane flying overhead, just hang on. All right, back on the engine here. This is out of a 69 Highboy. It's an engine I took out of a running truck that I didn't need, and this was just in storage. I used it for this truck. The only work I performed on this would be I put new freeze plugs in it. I flushed the block out because it had a bunch of junk in it, and put new valve cover gaskets on it because they were leaking. I put a new point style distributor in it, a new water pump, new fuel pump, new oil pressure and water temperature sending unit, and a new import carburetor. So that stuff's been replaced on this. New alternator as well, I forgot to mention. So this engine is a used engine, but it did run good and seems to run okay, so I don't have any issues with it. I do have a picture of how much oil pressure it made because I did want to check that because I didn't know anything about the engine. But it seemed to have really good oil pressure. I think it was like 60 or 65 when it was cold. When it was hot, it got down to like 40 or something, or when it was warm. So I think it is in decent shape, although like I said, I don't know how many miles are on it or anything about it. I just know that it runs good. I guess we could start it up here since we're talking about it. Now it is electric choke, but the engine is kind of warmed up from driving down here. Yeah, so it runs pretty good. Sitting here idling. Now it does have I did not replace the exhaust manifold gaskets on this because the bolts are seized up like these like to do, unfortunately. You can see I had to repair one right there. There's a bolt that holds the dipstick on. I had to drill that out and put a bolt, and I think, yeah, the back two on this side someone has already done, but the exhaust manifold gaskets weren't leaking, so I didn't want to mess with breaking off all those top bolts and deal with all that, so I left them on. And I did have to put a new exhaust on the thing because the old muffler was plugged up with a mouse house. So it has a new muffler and a new tailpipe out the back. So it went from 2-inch to 2.5. So it still had the factory exhaust on it. That is 2-inch out the back. So we went 2.5, and we put a new OE style muffler on it and exhaust. You can see that there. So it runs pretty decent, I think. Nice and quiet, not too rowdy. You can see there the oil pressure, although these things are never very accurate, but you can see it has oil pressure there on the gauge. And the alternator gauge is working. Turn the lights on, make it do something for you. Yeah, the battery's all topped up, so it's not doing much, but that's basically the engine. Now, later in the video, I will do a cold start so you guys can hear it cold. And we'll also do a driving video so you can hear more about the engine. So that's kind of just the general overview of the engine. If you guys have any more questions about any of that work, be sure to ask a question down in the comments or message me directly. I'll be able to answer anything you have about the engine or the drivetrain or anything about that. I guess we should talk about the underneath the truck and the work I performed under there. It has new wiper seals on the front axle. This is the standard duty Dana axle, the Dana 44. So it's a small ball. I did put new wiper seals in it, and I changed out the closed knuckle lubricant. There was one side that was leaking a little bit. The other side was still good, but I went ahead and replaced both seals and put new lubricant in it. And all that seemed to be in really good shape. You can see that in the gallery. Now the transfer case, I had to replace the front output shaft seal. It was leaking pretty bad after I serviced the transmission. So I put a new seal in that. That solved that. I did change the oil in the transmission and the transfer case, and it looked pretty much brand new when I drained it. So I topped that back off, put new gear oil in it. I did check the front end and the rear end, and it was the same story. It looked almost brand new. So I didn't mess with it because it just, you know, it looked like someone had done it pretty recently. So didn't want to waste time there or waste money just throwing gear oil in it when it didn't need it, because it looked really good. It looked really good. I also put new shocks on it, shock absorbers. And I didn't touch the brakes because they worked. They seem to work pretty good. They are manual, so they're not that great. You kind of have to put a lot of pressure in them, but I adjusted them, and they seem to work great, so I left them alone. And I just greased everything and just did a service, basically. So obviously, engine oil was new. I also put a new clutch and flywheel in this, and a new throwout bearing, and yeah, I think that's kind of what I did, everything on the drivetrain. I'll probably miss something, but I'll have everything listed in the comments of the auction if you want to check that out in case I did. So pretty much that's drivetrain and exterior all finished up. We're going to move on to interior now. Okay, moving on to interior, we'll start here at the driver's side door. When I got the truck, it was missing the driver's side glass, and the wing window was out, and the window felts were out of it. I think the glass had got broken at some point. It had pieces of glass in the floor and in the door, so the glass had been broken at some point. So I did replace it with a glass. It is a Carlite, so original Ford glass. It is not tinted, which this truck doesn't have the tinted glass, so it matches the rest of the truck. I did also change out the regulator. The window regulator that was in this was dragging really bad and really hard to crank, so I put another used one in there that was in good shape, so the window cranks really good now. And I also replaced all the felts, so the window track and then the wiper felts here on the door on both sides. So I went ahead and did the other side since I had to do this one. The rubbers in the wing window are original, just cleaned up. So that was kind of the work performed here, and just general cleanup on this side. Now on the passenger side, it was kind of the same story, other than I didn't have to put a window in it. So I did put felts in it, and on that side, it does have a brand new armrest on that side. That is a new takeout, new old stock takeout. And this one is not the original armrest. It's just one I had in storage that was pretty decent shape. So it has decent armrest in it. Moving on here to the rest of the interior. The steering wheel, unfortunately, is pretty cracked up here, as you can see, and on the back. But tried to make it look as nice as we could. I got a NOS steering wheel wrap, and put that on there. That kind of dresses up the outside of the wheel. Now the horn button here, we'll touch more on this when we do the functions test, but the horn button is original, and it's kind of finicky, and I have the horn unhooked right now because of that, but I'll tell you about that when we do the functions test. But this is an original horn button, and the aftermarkets are on back order, so I kind of had to glue this thing. It was wanting to pop out, and I kind of had to glue the thing down to get it to stay down, and it caused some problems with the hood or the horn, but we'll talk about that later. And the dash pad is covered. This is like a plastic cover on top of the dash pad. The dash pad is really cracked up and unsightly. And this is just a plastic ABS cover that is kind of glued on to the factory cover. So it is, the fit down here at the bottom isn't the best. If you can see there the difference. But up here where you can see it, it seems to fit pretty good. So I wanted to point that out. The gauge cluster is not original. The original gauge cluster out of this truck was having issues. I couldn't get some of the functions to work, so I replaced it with a different one, so that the mileage on this is not correct, although I don't know that the other mileage on that one was correct either. You know, these things with only 5-digit odometers, it's kind of hard to know. But I did put a different one in here, and everything seems to work on it, and I put new bulbs in it. Now, it also did not have a ashtray cover. And the closest thing I had was a Wimbledon white one. So we have a matching Wimbledon white ashtray cover for our Wimbledon white hood. And then also the radio, it didn't have a radio. And this is just a period Pioneer radio I had out of another truck that does not work, and it is not even hooked up. It's just kind of a hole filler. So it just kind of fills the hole, since I didn't have a radio to go with this truck. So it just fills the hole and completes the look, I guess. And heater and all that stuff functions. We'll go over that later. Moving on to the seat here. This isn't the original seat. If you can see some of the red poking through here on the under the seat cover there. Now the vinyl on this red seat is tore up underneath here, so it is the cushion. If you can see here, you can see some of the cushion. So it's tore up on the bottom and the back here. But I did put a blue saddle blanket style cover on here. Now this is kind of a little nicer one. I tried to find the nicest one. This isn't like the cheap $30 ones you can see on Amazon. So I don't know how well this one's going to hold up, but I did try to find a real nice one, so you didn't have to worry about the thing self-disintegrating like the cheap ones seem to do. Now the rest in here is pretty much just standard. Didn't do anything. I put a new rear view mirror in it, you know, that kind of stuff. Left everything alone. I mean, just kind of general old pickup in here. I guess we could transition to a functions test. You can see there the courtesy light is working. It's off and back on. So I got the courtesy light working on both doors. The lights work. We'll go ahead and demonstrate those in the shop. I'll cut to that right now. All right, I got the truck pulled in the shop here so we can maybe see the lights a little bit better. The lights are on, dash lights are on, kind of hard to see there. But you can see kind of where the odometer is, dash lights are coming on, and we have our headlights and marker lights up front, and our tail lights with our side marker lights. We also have, these are low beams right now. There's your high beams, back to low. And we'll also go ahead and do blinkers. So we have left blinker there, right blinker. All right, I also want to demonstrate brake lights. So there is brake lights. Turn the lights off. Brake lights again. Also, one thing to note while we're back here, the reverse lights are not functioning. I think it's something either in the switch of the transmission or something in the circuit. I kind of troubleshooted it for a little bit, didn't find a quick and easy solution there. So those aren't working, but the tag light is working. I don't know if we saw that in the demonstration here, but the tag light's working. I just couldn't get the reverse lights to function. All right, now for the horn. I do have it hooked up right now and demonstrate that it is working. So it is working, although it does have a tendency to stick on, and it will do that with the key off or key on. So I have it unhooked because the horn button here is the problem. It's a little tight, and I think it's a little too sensitive, and sometimes it'll stick on. So I would recommend getting a replacement if you want to keep the horn or need the horn for inspection or something like that. But this horn button is unfortunately on back order, so I didn't get one before the auction. But it is working if you like need it to pass inspection or something like that. It does work, but I have it unhooked just so it's not just sitting here at the horn blaring while someone's not here. Moving on to the wipers, we have wiper. There's low and there's high, and washer fluid. Spraying washer fluid there. All right, emergency flashers are working. Sometimes you got to kind of play with it. See them there? They're working. It's probably just contacts in that switch are getting old, but they do work. So if you need them, like that. Another thing I noticed when I was messing with this thing, they seem to be working today, but the wipers don't always like to go to park. Right there. See, you shut it off and it goes right there. But you shut them off in the when they're parked. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Just wanted to point that out. Also, the brake light differential switch, or the light, is missing right here. I'm not sure it actually works anyway, but that light just comes on if you have a problem with your brake system, and there's a switch or a valve down here in the distribution block for the brakes that triggers this light, and it's missing here, so obviously that is not functioning. All right, I want to demonstrate the parking brake. I do have it set right now. I wanted to demonstrate that it works. I have it parked here on an incline so I can demonstrate it. It's holding the truck right now. I'm going to release the brake. And we are rolling away. So I can set the brake and we stop. So I just wanted to demonstrate that the brake is working and it holds the truck. Transfer case shifts and shifts good. It does hang up in when you're driving it. That's generally how these things are. You kind of got to get it in the right spot to get it out of low range or something. But to go from low range, high range, it shifts really good. So there's low, that would be neutral, and then right there is two-wheel drive. So that is shifting good. Transmission shifting good. We'll verify that in the driving video. One more thing I want to mention that I forgot whenever we were doing the turn signals is the self-cancellation isn't working on right-hand turns. It doesn't self-cancel whenever you straighten the wheel back out. We'll show you that whenever we do the driving video. The 12-volt socket does work. The lighter here doesn't seem to be heating up, but I did verify that the actual socket's working, so I tested that. So the lighter doesn't work, but the socket works basically. And I guess moving on here to the heater. We have our blower motor. There's high, medium, low, and off. So our speeds are working, and our temperature works, and the heat control works. So there's heat, defrost, back to heat, and off. So all that stuff is free. And as I mentioned, the radio is not working, but it's not even hooked up. So this was just a hole filler basically. So that radio does not work and does not function. So I think that's pretty much it for the functions video. If I missed anything, be sure and ask me about it in the comments if you guys wanted to see something that I missed. But for now, we'll go ahead and start on a cold start and do a driving portion of this video. All right, let's do a cold start. The truck's been sitting here all night. We'll give it a go. This is automatic choke, so I'll give it one pump to set the choke, and we'll see how it goes. So it's sitting there at high idle. So the choke is active. Let's see if I can kick it down. It may not be warm enough yet. There, it kicked down. All right, now we've got the cold start underway. I'm gonna get this thing warmed up and we're gonna take it for a test drive and show you guys how it drives. All right, welcome to the driving portion of the video. Out here driving the truck. I've got about 200 miles on it so far since I put it together. I'll put a few more on it before the day's done. So driving along here, just do some city driving so you guys get the feel of the truck, just stop and go, day-to-day driving kind of a deal. And then we'll get it out on the highway and get a little speed up on it. First impressions driving this truck, it is pretty tight and straight. The steering isn't all floppy loose. And manual brakes require a little bit of brake pressure, but they're getting the job done. And this thing is manual steering, but the steering effort is pretty low, short of like in a parking lot. So trying to steer around a parking lot or something like that. Earlier in the video when we're doing the functions test, I mentioned that the self cancellation cam on the blinkers wasn't working. It works on the left-hand turns. It doesn't work on the right-hand turns. I think the little tab's broken off of the blinker switch under the steering column there. That's pretty common. So it cancels on the left-hand turn, but on the right-hand turns you just got to cancel. Remember to cancel it. It's not that big of a deal. But they do work pretty well. I haven't had any problems with the blinkers working on it. Sometimes they can be a little finicky, but the blinkers have been working pretty good. The fuel gauge is working and seems to be accurate. I don't think it goes all the way full for some reason, but it gets like 7/8 full, I guess. But empty seems to be empty, which is kind of the important part, I guess. And I had to fiddle with the temperature gauge a little bit. The needle on the gauge was rubbing on the gauge cluster. I took it apart and bent it out, but it seems to be working good now. It is on the bottom end of the normal, which is pretty normal with that big radiator that we have in this thing. Another thing I noticed with this truck was these tires are a little noisy. So there's that mud terrain tire has a little bit of road noise, but kind of what you to be expected with those tires. Also, this transmission is just pretty good. Mentioned in the past on my other truck videos that the MP435 is kind of a clunky transmission to begin with, but this one shifts really nice as far as nice as 435s go. Let's put it that way. We'll get it out here in some a little bit faster speeds. We're going 45 right now. We'll get here in a little bit more open road and we'll open it up a little bit more. 655. So going down the road nice and straight, hands off the steering wheel is no problem. Really the only noise you hear is the wind noise and the tire noise. The engine's pretty quiet. But yeah, this thing drives, it actually drives really nice. So hands off the steering wheel, no problem. Going down the road straight. Pretty nice driving truck. But I'll get some B-roll off of this whenever I'm driving, and I'll put it at the end of this video so you guys can see a little bit more of the driving. And I think we'll call it quits on my auction video for this 71 Highboy. Thank you everyone for watching it to this point. And if you're interested in bidding, I thank you in advance. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. You can message me, send a message to me from Bring a Trailer on the contact seller feature. You can leave a comment and I'll answer it that way. Or you can contact me on other media accounts I have. Cubic Motorsports on Instagram is a good one. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Good luck on the bidding, and I'll see you guys in the comments.